What up, dudes, and welcome to the first Yo Video Game side quest. A nice little bonus content for those of you always
Patreon.
all of our generous patrons who kept us going. So
A little bit of
this is just sort of
DLC.
a DLC, a little bonus, if you will. So we're gonna talk about something not very long, just a little something to like discuss. Something that probably maybe didn't quite make enough for a full episode, but hey, it's something to like address, if you will. And that was last week's Final Fantasy VII
25th
direct.
anniversary. Yeah, that
Yeah, I mean it was 10 minutes packed with announcements, and it was like, hey, they talked about Ever Crisis on mobile, which sad. I wish that was more than just mobile right now. They recapped First Soldier stuff, whatever.
right.
Merchandising. And then yes, they announced Crisis Core is getting a remake for everything. And then they showed off the first part of Final Fantasy Remake Part 2, which is no longer called Remake. It is called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And there will be three parts they confirmed. It will no, they said that it's ending at three. And this is going to be part two of three, and it's called Rebirth. And they showed a teeny tiny little bit of footage of Cloud and Sephiroth walking up to Nibelheim, which kind of tracks because, again, that would be the flashback that Cloud tells everyone about when they get to Calm in the original game, which would be like in the sequence of events, the next thing that happens in the story right after the
Right.
getting out of
Yeah.
Midgard. So that's kind of cool, but it was very small. And then there was like
There was a
they had
weird
some
hint that Aerith isn't dead.
there's a weird hint there. Like, was that Aerith? Was that Tifa saying that? I think it sounds more like Tifa, but like, so and there's all these weird things like teasing with Cloud, like making it to Midgar with Zack. So there's which kind of tracks if you've seen Final Fantasy 7, the ending of that game and Intergrade, the
Right.
ending to Intergrade. So like, there's a lot of like they already hinted that there's like this weird thing where maybe it's an alternate timeline, maybe like history's being rewritten. You defeated all those Harry Potter Death Eater things that were controlling fate or whatever. Everyone called Max crazy and said he was nuts and off his rocker for suggesting that it's not a remake, it's actually a sequel. But now they're calling the second game Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I think Max was right, and I thought it was obvious when you got to the end of Seven Remake, where like you're fighting Sephiroth, and there's this whole thing about this whole hinting and teasing in 7 seconds till the end, and yada yada, where it's like Sephiroth's kind of become aware that he's of what's going to happen, and now he's actively trying to change history from happening the way it's supposed to. And there's all these plot ghosts that are trying to keep the lore intact. I thought it was
Here's
obvious.
okay, here's my question because I didn't get through all of Final Fantasy VII Remake yet. It's one of those games where I've picked it up like 3 or 4 times and I love playing it, but then I end up just getting distracted with whatever other game comes out. So I had no idea that this wasn't supposed to be just like a straight remake. How many people are pissed?
And it's happened. I've seen it happen where people are like,
I-
I wanted a remake. This was
I've been
called
lied
remake,
to.
and
Yeah.
now it's not a remake. And the thing is, this is from people who absolutely completed Final Fantasy VII Remake Part One, and I guess we can't call it Part One. It's just Remake and Rebirth. And they said the third part will have a brand new subtitle. So Remake, Rebirth, Revolution, Revitalize, Reboot. You know,
Revengeance. So
Prevent. Thank you.
you're welcome. So is Rebirth so Rebirth isn't gonna be a remake of the next section of the game. It's gonna be its own
I think it will. I
deal
think
with
it's
story
still.
elements. It's gonna have story
I don't
elements,
know.
but
I think it will still be the next part of Final Fantasy VII, but I think there's going to be twists along the way. Like there's
hmm.
going to be things that are sort of like altered or changed or what have you. And
Is
then that's the question of when and where and how are they going to twist the narrative a bit.
is that a good thing? Should we be happy about this or should we be annoyed? Like, part of me is like, this is great. But the other part of me, this is great because how did they keep it secret? But two, this is annoying because part of me did really
Hmm.
just want to replay Final Fantasy VII, but without all the things I didn't like about the gameplay back in the day.
Well, that's an interesting point because like Ever Crisis is kind of like the quote unquote it's the old game but with pretty graphics, plus the other parts of it. But anyways, I went back and forth on this, and for me, I like it more because of Link's Awakening. And Link's
Mm,
Awakening was like, here's a remake. It's 1-to-1. It just looks good, has some quality of life improvements, to the button configuration and adding stuff.
right.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
but it's the same game. It is 100% the same game. There's no mystery. There's no intrigue. There's nothing. Like everything is just like, okay, what did they do to the graphics here? Like it was a game that I was super familiar with. I had played through, I had done, and it became like I'm buying this game, and it's like I would have gotten the same level of enjoyment out of Link's Awakening remake just watching a Let's Play, because I was so intimately familiar with every aspect of that game and every part of it. There was
Right.
nothing changed to the puzzles, nothing changed to the dungeons. It was like only thing new was just what did the graphics look like in this, and I could have just watched someone play through the whole game and gotten the same
Okay.
experience. So it's kind of like, well, I'm actually kind of happy that it's not a 1-to-1 remake. But again, the thing for me that's still not quite answered, but I feel like there's more hope is I wanted Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 or Rebirth as it is now. I wanted it to get the fuck out of corridors. I wanted them to really work on their level design. I wanted to see the world of Final Fantasy VII. I wanted to see Gaia in its entirety. I did not want to see any more shitty corridors with shitty textures on shit. And I'm not even talking about the fucking door. I'm talking about like every shitty texture between the church and Eris's house. In that
Yeah.
junkyard area, and everything looked really fucking low res last gen, like last gen. Like I didn't want to see any of that shit anymore. I didn't want to see any more shitty JPEGs, that's supposed to be the below me or to this, in front of me. I wanted to see the world of Gaia, and I wanted to see it blown up and big, and I know it, and I know it can be done. And here's where I have hope. At the end of that teaser for Rebirth, it just said PS5. Like, are they
Yeah. So
doing
it's
it?
it's
Is
not
it
gonna have a.
happening? Are they actually saying fuck last gen? Like that would make me so happy. And I'm not, I understand a lot of people
You
still can't
elitist
fucking
fuck.
people still can't find a PS5, although it's getting better. But this game's not coming out until like, March 2024,
Right.
despite what the director said on his letter, which he very clearly was saying it was coming out March 23. And everyone thinks I'm crazy. It's not what he meant. It's not what he said. I'm going to show you this, Andrew, and you're going to tell me. I want you to just read this like a normal person, and maybe even reread it, because what Kitase is saying here is absolutely implying that the game's coming out in March. It's not coming out in March. Um,
It's not coming out until 2024.
I don't think so. Okay, so read this statement. Like, read it. Like, just even hell, read it out loud.
Let me give you
Or I.
my. We have officially announced the second title, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, will be released next winter, approximately 3 years after the original Final Fantasy VII Remake released in April 2020. Well, that's 2023. That's exactly what that is. 3 years may feel like a long time for all the fans who are eagerly awaiting the next game, but we want to offer the best experience possible and reassure everyone that development is proceeding at an astonishingly fast pace for such a large-scale HD title.
Now you can stop right there. Because everyone's saying like, yes, but Crisis Core Reunion said it's coming out this winter, and this game's Rebirth trailer says next winter. So that's the winter after this winter, which means 2024. He's talking about fiscal. He's talking fuck you. He's literally saying it's coming out in March of 2023. Like, fuck
Approximately.
everyone who tried to sit there and say that's not what he meant. That's not what he said. Yes, it is what he said. I'm sorry, but March 2024 is approximately 4 years, not approximately 3 years. He says 3 years twice. He even fucking dates the month and year
Right,
in that
yeah.
letter.
I
So
don't
I
see
don't
how
know
there's
what
any
Katana. Yeah,
confusion here.
Jesus fucking Christ. Like that's the weird thing where everyone's just like people are all like he's totally meant 24. Like you're stupid if I don't think it's coming out in March 23. I think there's negative chance this game's coming out in March 23. I think it's
Something
absolutely coming out in March 24. But this motherfucker Katasi, this lying bitch, who said that towns could not be made in HD
He's
back
for the
during 13's
streets.
development. He's absolutely fucking saying in his letter it's coming out in and around April 2023. So whatever,
I
fuck
think
him.
it's important to remember. I was reminding myself this. More and more of the people you interact with online these days are like 16. And think about how much of a fucking idiot you were at 16. Even if you were smart at 16, you were still probably a fucking idiot.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and think about how certain you were about everything all the
Well,
time.
and I'm certain this is not coming out until 2024, but that motherfucker in his letter clearly
Yeah, he's
stated it was
clearly
coming out.
saying it's
It's
approximately
coming out
3
in
years
April
after.
23. So fuck him. Um,
I mean, even if you misunderstood or you dissect that first half of the sentence, the second half of the sentence is pretty fucking clear. Well, you
so
know what? Like what reading?
if everyone's just like, well, that's because it says next winter. They say this winter for Crisis Core, and 7 says next winter for the other game. That's why it's 2020. Oh my god, fucking heaven! Like your counter argument is because one trailer says this and one trailer says next, where he says approximately 3 years from April 2020. Well, that's not April 2024, jackass. That's 2023. I know how to
Adds a,
count. Do you know how to count to 3? Fuck. Um,
Nobody
but
does.
anyways,
Joke's on you.
that's a personal gripe here, where I'm just kind of like, why is this guy saying this? Like like people like you totally misunderstood. He said, "Fuck you, no, he didn't." God damn
1,
it.
2, 5, 3, so 3. Um,
Ah.
I do actually like. I don't know. I'm still so on the fence about whether or not I should be jazzed about this or if I should be like, brr.
Well, I'm kind of jazzed because it being PS5, which gives you plenty of time to find a PS5. You've got
2 years.
just under 2 years to do this. Or I guess you could say, well, if we're going by the internet's logic, we have approximately 3 years to find PS5.
18 months when you round it up is 5 years, so
Yeah, yeah, apparently.
whatever.
Stupid. Fucking stupid.
You got strong feelings about this, and I'm here for it.
Well, it's just kind of like I can't believe some people are like you say like there's no misreading that, yet you ironically misread it. Like fuck, Jesus Christ! Like learn, fucking go back to school, you bitch.
You lying bitch.
Lying bitch. Like, and then Katasi's the real lying bitch here because he's clearly saying one thing when it's clearly not.
Maybe he was mistranslated.
That's what everyone says, but he says 3 years twice.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that you're again fuck ass mad, but
I'm fucking asthmatic Katasi, and then all the fucking like cult like the devouties like like of Final Fantasy, totally like jumping to defend him when they know everyone knows it's not coming out in April 2023. Everyone knows it's going to be 24. So everyone's literally like jumping to this man's defense to basically say like, well, he really said like this is what he meant. Like when he said approximately 3 years, he meant 4. Or he didn't mean 4. 3 is 4.
no,
Like that's not. It's not even like what he meant. They're like, no, he did say 4. Like, or he did say 3.
Yeah.
3 years. 3 years from April 3 years from April 2020 is April 2024. That's 3 years. That's approximately 3 years. Fuck off.
And when Nomura said that it would be coming out in 5 years about Final Fantasy 15, he actually meant 15 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what the problem is here, guys. It's basic math.
But anyways, like getting to the point though, like for me, I'm a little more hopeful because it's next gen only. And I think that's good. And some people were pointing out some of the ground texture work is using a lot of what is that photo gammetry or whatever it is. Anyways,
Yeah.
people are like, that looks like Unreal 5. Like the game looks like it's running on Unreal 5 now, rather than Unreal 4 like the last game. And 5 is a much easier, smoother upgrade. From going from Unreal 4 to 5 is a smooth upgrade compared to 3 to 4.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that's kind of a jump, isn't it?
It definitely gives them more to work with, but from what I understand, Unreal 5 is a much smoother process, and 5 is still very scalable. Like the Switch can run Unreal 5 apparently. Super shitty lowest settings or whatever,
Well,
but it can do it.
Impressive.
Right. So and that gives me hope, and one of the key factors of Unreal 5, why would you move to Unreal 5 And one of the key factors is because Unreal 5 is addressing the problem of Unreal 4, and that is Unreal 4 doesn't do open world very good because Unreal 4 has
Mm,
terrible data streaming. Like
right.
the way
Yeah.
data is processed and streamed is terrible on Unreal 4 if you want to do open world, but Unreal 5 is directly addressing that. It's one of the core components of things they wanted to like improve and fix.
Is that like bitrate
So
basically? It's like a
it's
higher
like you,
bitrate
you
or
can look at it that way, just basically like streaming the data to build and process the geometry of the world
hence
is
all the
not good. Yeah.
hallways and rooms, yeah.
Hence all the hallways, all the corridors, why you have that sort of unreal thing where like, if you load into something too fast, like it's untextured and then the texture loads in,
Right.
um, stuff like that. So 4 was just bad at doing open world and five's meant to fix that. And so that's why I'm kind of like, well, this is good. Everything sounds good. Like it looks like it's running on Unreal 5 from the footage. It says it's PS5 only. So I'm hopeful that we are going to see the rest of Final Fantasy VII, all the other stuff like traveling, across the world map or
And a
what
blimp.
becomes the world map, or I don't know if the blimp will make it in this game, but it definitely will make it by the third one, if not this one. But yeah,
Gotta have it.
golden saucer, the desert, and going to Cosmo Canyon and go traveling across the boat and all this stuff, all this other stuff, right? I want to see the rest of the world. I'm sick of Midgar. I'm sick of looking at a fucking construction site. Good
Yeah.
fucking fantastic. If you live in LA, you're looking at construction. 9/10 of your day on the freeway
I
while you're
have
stuck in it.
seen plenty of shitty cities. I would like to now get out into the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see I want to see what their artists can do when they're not making Midgar for the fucking 10th time.
Take me to
So
Fantasy Vegas, god damn it.
yeah,
That's
take me
what I
to
want.
Fantasy Vegas. So yeah, I'm excited because I did like the battle system in Remake a lot.
Yeah. I
I liked it
that's
a
my
whole
favorite
lot
part of
more in the
remake.
original. Yeah, I liked it a whole lot more in the original game.
Yeah.
Um,
And Cloud has a
so
character,
yeah,
which is
I
nice,
mean
yeah.
he did in the original game, and remake was good at remembering what it was supposed to be rather than what it became,
Right.
and everything after 7, which is nice. Uh, I this is not we're not really theory crafting. This is not really like we're doing a side quest. We're not here to like what do I think's going to happen? What will be changed? And that's probably what everyone wants to hear. And what do I think is going to be changed? You know what? Zach's going to show up. Here's the things I think are going to change. Zach's going to show up. You're going to find Jesse performing at the Golden Saucer, and I think there might, honest to God, be a possibility. I think they are flirting with the idea of what to do with Aerith, whether she dies or not. And some people are like, "Good spoilers, fuck you." Game's like 25 years old. Um,
Yeah, if you're getting spoiled now, oh man. Oh
Like I
man.
think I think they're flirting with the idea of maybe or maybe not killing Aerith. I think they're I think we will see more Zack, and I think we will see Jesse in the Golden Saucer.
What's the vampire guy's name?
Vincent.
Yeah. I
Will
wonder
we
what
see
he's going to look
Vincent?
like.
Yes, we'll see Vincent.
In the second one, or would he not come in until the third?
Well, he shows up in the second one, but he doesn't. I don't think you can get him to join your party immediately. He goes back to sleep, I think.
Yeah. That's
But
weird
it's
as fuck.
funny because like they showed Kate Shi in remake part 1 only for half a second as the city or the plate was coming down, and fucking Keishi runs out, and it's real funny to watch people's reactions who are not familiar with Final Fantasy 7. They didn't play the original at all,
Hmm.
and they're like, "Why the fuck is a cartoon cat running out here?" And what? Why is there a cartoon cat? Why is there a living, breathing cartoon cat in the game? And I'm like, oh yeah, they give you absolutely zero explanation for what that is. That's just there for the old fans.
Well, it just
Um,
reminds me that like everybody's first time playing a Final Fantasy game and the first time they see a Moogle,
yeah,
it's fucking weird.
what is that? Well, and then here's the other thing, and I don't know if you thought about this, but people's whose first exposure to Final Fantasy VII was through remake. I heard this from a lot of people whose girlfriend had this reaction. They're like, I don't understand. Why is this guy important? Who is this guy and why is this important? Multiple people said that. when they were playing the game and their significant other was watching them play through because they knew how excited they were, but like they weren't really gamers, right? And then
Right.
they're like, oh my god, it's Sephiroth, and like he says something weird and cryptic and then disappears, and like, why is this guy important? I don't understand.
Ooh.
Like it, Sephiroth makes no fucking sense to someone coming into remake fresh in remake.
Yeah, that's right. That's a problem that remakes always have, though, is like, do you build it for the people who know what's going on, or do you build it
Right.
for
And that's what I said back when Remake came out. I'm like, Remake is a game built for people who love 7. Remake doesn't give a shit if you're new to
right?
Final Fantasy 7. The way Sephiroth is treated and handled is you already know who he is, you know why he's important, because they do not say shit about that in Remake. There is no
Huh.
introduction to him. There is no explanation whatsoever as to why
Yeah.
he's doing any of the stuff he's doing in Remake. They're just going off the assumption you know it's Sephiroth. You do not actually see Sephiroth in the original game until you do the flashback.
I wonder how many
You
Let's
know.
Plays are just like people who've never played it before and are just like, who the fuck is this long-haired douche? All right, well,
Exactly.
that's our side quest, guys. Uh, I mean, Patreon has comments and stuff. You can comment
So
directly under the video.
yeah,
Tell us
and I
what you
think
think.
just wrapping it all up right there, like that to me right there is just kind of like, that's why Rebirth is Rebirth and not Remake Part 2, because from the beginning, Square never gave a shit about if you were new to 7. This was
Right.
always
Yeah.
was for people who were familiar with it. So it's the astronaut meme, the one with the gun. He's like, wait, it's only for fans. Always has
Always
been.
has been. Yeah. Fuck. All right, dudes. We'll catch you in the next side quest. See ya.